ರಾಗಿ ತಂದೀರಾ ಭಿಕ್ಷಕರಾಗಿ ತಂದೀರಾ ರಾಗಿ ತಂದೀರಾ ಭಿಕ್ಷಕರಾಗಿ ತಂದೀರಾ ಯೋಗ್ಯರಾಗಿ ಭೋಗ್ಯರಾಗಿ ಭಾಗ್ಯವಂತರಾಗಿ ಯೋಗ್ಯರಾಗಿ ಭೋಗ್ಯರಾಗಿ ಭಾಗ್ಯವಂತರ.
See, today you have your own brand, Vasu. You have your own style of music that you've brought in. But the comparisons are inevitable, isn't it? I mean, because Raghu having come into the foray much earlier than you. But today I think you both have a clear differentiator in terms of what music you guys do, and you both are different brands. Is there a sibling rivalry at home? Do you guys keep giving each other feedback?
Taraka Bindige nanige hoguve tare bindige.
Welcome to Can.Did Talks. As you all know, my name is Teja Gudluru, your host, and this is a show that tries to talk about the story between can and did. A lot of us believe we can do a lot of things. Only a few actually go out there and do it. Who we have today with us is someone that I am a huge fan, and I'm trying to compose myself not to have a fanboy moment right now on the show. I've already done that before the recording. So I have Vasu Dixit of the famous Swarathma band. And of course, as most of you would now know, the Vasu Dixit Collective, the fusion folk rock band, if I can call it that way. Very famous songs turned out, a lot of messages in it, a lot of passion that you see in the instruments, the sound, and the quality of music that comes out. Vasu, sir, thank you for accepting my invite at a short notice. Welcome to the show. Namaskara, sir.
Thank you, Namaskara. And I'm really glad to be here because very honestly, I haven't done a podcast in the past 8 months.
Wow. Thank you. I'm humbled. Thank you for giving me that privilege, sir. Thank you so much.
Pleasure's all mine.
I hope you got your guitar because, like I said, I'm your fan. I am hoping to ask you to sing a couple of songs for me in the show. I'm sure you're always around somewhere.
Wherever I go, the guitar goes before me. So don't worry about it.
All right. So Vasu, how's life? What is happening? What's new?
Yeah, I think the new life that we are living now is the new thing.
Right.
Of course, it has got its own ups and downs, and like everyone else. So it's not very different for me also.
Right.
Has had its challenge. It still has its own challenges, and I am trying to make the most of it, trying to be positive by creating music, which is what keeps me happiest at any moment in life.
Right.
Even when I'm going through the darkest time, I try to bring that experience through my songs.
Right.
It could turn out to be a dark song, or it could turn out to be a happy song. You never know. It's not always that when you're sad, you'll create sad
I was
songs.
actually listening to Mushkil Hai Jeena that you launched during the pandemic. I don't know what your intent was, but it is so true to what we are going through right now. It is so easy for us to be negative, but your song talks about the other side of the negative. I really like that about that song as well.
Yes.
Were you happy with the response that you've received for that song, Vasu?
Definitely, because everyone could relate to that song. And the song is not just about the times that we are going through now. It's just that we felt it's the right time to release the song. The song is about the difficulties that we face in our lives.
Right.
And the idea is that when we, like the song says, Mushkil mein jeena na bhulo, which means don't forget to live even when there are tough times.
Right.
See, when you know I have to live, that means tough times are part of life.
Correct.
Tough times, difficult times are testing times. They are not the end of our life. And even when we have our loved ones who have ended their lives, or let's say their life has ended, that doesn't mean that you stop living. That's the whole idea of that song. Of course, we wrote it much before the pandemic, and we were planning for a video, and we thought how to do, what to do, and stuff. because even at that time we were going through a lot of things in our country as such.
Sure.
Both politically and socially, a lot of changes and tough situations. So we thought we were writing about that, and then the pandemic came, which felt even bigger as a tough time. But now we have learned to live between that. That's the whole idea. You have to learn to live at different situations in a different environment with different people and different financial, emotional, social conditions.
Right.
But live.
But how does music help? I know there are a lot of artists who are doing numbers, covers, writing songs. Does that make a difference, you think, Vasu? I mean, end of the day, we're all going through what we are going through, isn't it?
Yeah. See, definitely music alone can't change all our lives.
Right.
But music definitely has that beautiful power to reach out to each one's heart.
Right.
To reach out to each one's soul. Because that is the same place where the music also originates from. It's
Right.
from a pure space of our soul and hearts. And the only destination that music ends up having is the soul and the heart. So there is no, it can't stop anywhere in between.
Absolutely.
So when it does have that pure quality of transmission and reaching its destination,
right,
then why not send good messages, positive messages, good words through that music?
Absolutely.
So when we send that, definitely all those messages and good thoughts going through that music, it will take its time. Like we call our music as sugar-coated bitter pill, because through music, let people listen to this, and the work will happen eventually. It might take little more time. Some medicines take time. They say it will not show a result right away. It will take its time. Maybe music is like Ayurveda, where it doesn't only treat that one particular problem.
Absolutely.
It looks at a holistic lifestyle and holistic healing.
Right.
And it takes time. So probably music is also like that it takes time. It cannot change the situation immediately, but can change hearts and minds and soul. And eventually, we will see a brighter environment.
I like the way you said music has the power. And since you spoke about medicine, Vasu, I think I've always believed that no medicine will work if the patient is already given up, right? It's the mindset. And I think music is like the mindset, right? It gives you the foundation to believe that something positive will happen. I remember watching your comments on each of your videos, and I'm specifically talking about Ragi Tandira, for example, or Taraka Bindige. And I see people from all across the world post a comment saying, look, I don't understand the language, but this is my ringtone now. Or I come back from a long day's work and I put on Taraka Bindige, for example, and it just takes me into such deeper sense of relaxation just by listening to it. How do you feel when people write to you across the globe? Did you expect those songs to actually pick up so well and become so popular when you launched them?
Very honestly, I didn't, because there definitely were other songs where I felt, oh wow, I'm showing more of my musicality and more compositional skills, and those songs should be like the happening or trending songs, and I released them before. Taraka Bindige was actually the later song that I released of my live session set of songs. I didn't really expect, but it did strike a chord with, metaphorically also, it did strike a chord with a lot of people, and it became an instant, connection with people. And so I realized that it's not just the music, okay? It's also the power of those words.
True.
Like whatever Puradaradasa has told. And I always believe, and this is what even Kabir says, there is a vibration in every shabd, or shabad, like what Kabir says.
Correct.
Every word or sound that we create has vibration in it.
Right.
So certain words have different frequency and vibration to it, and that it has that capacity to reach out. Like we all know Om as a sound,
Vibration
has all the frequencies in the world in that it can encompass.
Right.
And it has that power. So similarly, different words have that frequency and connection to it. And so you have to connect to those words, and then the music comes from there. So I never thought that, like I have heard Taraka Bindige, different versions.
Correct. I remember watching a very old video of the famous Kannada actor Rajkumar sir. He was involved with a very old version of this song in a movie, I guess. So that was my intro to Taraka Bindige. But when I heard yours, I was just blown away. So go ahead. You were saying something about the song.
Yeah. So most of the songs that has in of Taraka Bindige are slightly, what do you say, celebratory, or it's like the women calling each other. The dance forms that you see are all about the women going to taking a pot, and the choreographies are that. But what Puradaradasa says, it's not just the ladies going and getting water. It's more than that. It's that is only the physical meaning that we bring. I think what he actually means is the bring your pot, that is bring your being, and fill it with water of the greatest qualities. And even in the end, what he says is that what do you do with this water in the end? You again, dedicate it to the Almighty.
Correct.
So there is so much simplicity and metaphor that he has in every words that he has written. So that is what drives me to create a song, or to say, okay, I want to compose for them. First, the connection has to happen with me. And also, like I was coming to the composition, I thought there is scope for this to be little more meditative than the celebration part of it. I will celebrate in meditation, but that's what I tried to create, and that's what happened. I mean, and it's a long song actually. It's a 7-minute song.
Yes.
Normally, now if you see, the average is half of that. Average song now has become 3.5 minutes.
Right. Because
of whatever social media, and people are not very patient. Their attention span is shorter. Even now, I'm also making songs that are like 3.5, 4-minute songs. But I feel that some certain songs need that space. Certain songs need you to dive into them for a longer duration, for it to marinate and bring its taste into you. Absolutely. So, and I did, and it really, connected with a lot of people. So definitely, I didn't have any idea that it will become what it became.
Right. In fact, the deeper meaning, the unsaid that you spoke about, that Puradaradasa meant to bring out using the metaphor of the pot, I thought your music did that, because the way the song starts with an iktara kind of sets the tone that this is not, yes, this is celebratory, but this is a deeper meditative celebration. That, the string that it starts with, it's just so powerful, Vasu. I mean, amazing song. As a music lover, right, I've been following from the days of Indian Ocean, Pentagram, Parikrama, to now as recently as Vasu Dixit, all these guys. One thing that always, made me curious as a music lover, how do you select the instruments? Because I know you use different Indian folk instruments in your songs. How do you, is it trial and error? Do you try out sounds? Or it kind of hits you when you're composing the song that maybe this instrument will fit in perfectly here? What goes behind the scenes, Vasu?
So it is a bit of all of it, to be very honest. To say that some of it is trial and error.
Right.
Some of it is very intuitive, I would say.
Right.
Most of it for me is intuitive. Like when I hear a sound, it gives me a certain feel of of, of a soundscape that the instrument itself builds, irrespective of what adds on to it or not. And from there, everything else evolves. So, and many a times it happens that, okay, I have composed the song, I have composed the melody, and then I go back to say, okay, what instrument I think will fit into a composition like this? What instrument will do justice to it?
Right.
So it is both ways, and there are different variations to it. So it's not like always there is one way to go to do a composition. Like, for example, Taraka Bindige, I composed it with my guitar lele in the beginning.
Right.
Only much later, I could probably call myself a student of Parvati Baul. I went for a couple of workshops of hers, the Baul music tradition, and I've learned few songs from her. I mean, it will be unfair to say that I'm her student, because I don't really follow all that she tells me, but I have incorporated some of her music and the philosophy of Baul music and lifestyle into my own life as well. So that's where I picked up the Ektara, and I fell in love with it, because the Ektara philosophy is also about aligning with oneself.
Correct.
It's just the string from top to bottom, and irrespective of where it is, it will come back to the center. It will vibrate and come back to the center, and you're in align with your all your energy points or chakras that we call. Correct. So I really connected with that, and I felt, okay, for this song, this suits. So I have used Ektara in a couple of other tracks as well. But that's what you have to have that sensibility and sensitivity to see whether a song demands for it, or Ektara fits into a song from there. Right. Or while I am strumming, what is it that comes out of it? There's one more D.V. Gundappa or DVG, whom we call Mankutimma Nakaga. I've done something called Hullagu, and I used Ektara again. And in that song, I've only used Ektara, and that's one of my favorites as well. So it's about how each instrument creates a soundscape by themselves, and how they allow other instruments to come in around them. So it is to be in tune with that instrument.
Right. Can we hear Ragi Tandira from you? Just a little bit?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. I'm really sorry, because of the constant weather change now in Bangalore.
Yes.
Even though I tuned my instrument before this, it just So again, in Ragi Tandira, actually it's the words of Puradaradasa that inspired me to come up with a composition like this. Right. And here also, a lot of people had done, like the song Ragi, as we all know, is the grain. Right. And here he's saying Ragi Tandira. Basically, he's going as a beggar.
Correct.
As someone in arms and asking for Ragi.
Correct.
And also, he says Ragi is also, in Kannada, there's another meaning, which is to become. Agi means to become. Correct. So he uses that word both as the noun and the verb, and plays around with it. He just minces with all words, and he's a magician, I would say. And most of this composition before were all, it has the Karuna Bhava in it.
Correct.
But and also, to be honest, I don't listen to what others have composed before I make the composition. For me, it's the words first, how I connect. I make my composition, then I go and see what others have done. Right. I don't want to be influenced to what others have felt. So this song gave me a celebration feel. So that's how I came up with this tune. Ragi Tandira, Bhikshaka Ragi Tandira. Ragi Tandira, Bhikshaka Ragi Tandira. Ragi Tandira, Bhikshaka Ragi Tandira. Yogya Ragi, Bhogya Ragi, Bhagyavanta Ragi. Yogya Ragi, Bhogya Ragi, Bhagyavanta Ragi. Ragi Tandira, Bhikshaka Ragi Tandira. Siridamanana Dina Nelayuvaragi, Kurtiga Bharathavaragi. Siridamanana Dina Nelayuvaragi, Kurtiga Bharathavaragi. Garadara Bhavan Niguvaragi, Purandara Vitalana Seviparagi. Purandara Vitala. Vitala. Garadara Bhavan Niguvaragi, Purandara Vitalana Seviparagi. Ragi Tandira, Bhikshaka Ragi Tandira. Ragi Tandira, Bhikshaka Ragi Tandira. Yogya Ragi, Bhogya Ragi, Bhagyavanta Ragi. Yogya Ragi, Bhogya Ragi, Bhagyavanta Ragi. Ragi Tandira, Bhikshaka Ragi Tandira.
Wow. I'm lost for words. I mean, I've watched this so many times on YouTube. It plays almost every alternate day at home. It's like a regular playlist that YouTube picks up automatically for me. But this is such a pleasure. This is such a privilege, Vasu. Thank you. This means a lot to me.
Yeah.
So, while I'm celebrating the song, there's a thought that came to my head just now, right? So, Swarathma is otherwise also a very popular band. I know the college fraternity, the campuses go crazy to bring Swarathma into their campuses. And I've been on one of them in Bangalore.
Yeah.
So now my question to you is, isn't it a conflict of interest sometimes? Because if you compose a great song, now do you play it as a part of Swarathma, or do you get it out like a Vasu Dixit Collective? How do you manage that probably conflict in your head, or is there a conflict in the first place?
Yeah, there used to be conflict before. I think now there isn't, because why I had to do Vasu Dixit Collective or write my own songs or compose songs of other same poets was because these are some things that I've grown up with, and some songs that I heard, and I felt that they need the space for them to develop on their own. Swarathma as a band, as a entity, has found its identity about what we are, what do we write about, what is it that we want to talk about, right. The kind of music that we do, the five of us, when we come together, the music that's created, we have figured it out now. Of course, it's not like, okay, we have arrived. It's not about that. We know how it actually works. And every time it's new, but we know it's the five of us. We have to come together and something will happen. So that we are very confident about. So there were these other songs that needed its space. And as Swarathma, probably not a band for it to find its home there.
Right.
So I started singing them on my own. I collaborated with few other musicians. And that's when the thought came, okay, there is room for me to create more than what I'm doing in Swarathma. Otherwise, songs like Taraka Bindige or Ragi Tandira wouldn't have happened if I had not taken that step it was also a challenge for me because, like I said, I already have an identity with Swarathma and something that I've built over now my collective, Vasu Dixit Collective, it's like 3 years old. So at that time, Swarathma was 10 years old, then new lineup. So why should I break away? Is it a challenge? I mean, is it easy for me to break away? But I know that I can't depart from Swarathma. It's not like I have quit Swarathma. That cannot happen. Correct. Swarathma is me, and it is started by me with another friend, and it's very much an integral part of me. I had to explore more, and I wanted to also fail. I wanted to collaborate with more musicians like this Taraka Bindige and the Vasu Dixit Collective live session that we did. I played with 19 musicians on stage, right. So the different kind of music. That's my dream is to probably play with 200 musicians on stage, different countries, different kinds of musicians coming, different instruments coming on stage, like a choir of 45 people, and that's what I want to do. So along the way, I know that failure is part of that. So with Swarathma, no matter what we try, it's very difficult to fail because it's 5 of us and each one is there to catch each other when something is going wrong, then others are there. But here, it's just me. And if I fail, it's only me to blame. So I found that it is more about me exploring and experimenting than about whether it will become a success or a failure and things. So once I have understood that, there is no conflict in it. It's about and it's beyond me and Swarathma also to say, because it is music at the end of the day. And tomorrow, when I'm not here on this, the songs will live and the songs will be heard irrespective whether it is of Swarathma or Vasu Dixit Collective. And that's again the power of music, which I keep coming back to. So I have to also shed whether I'm composing for Swarathma, for VDC. It is beyond my own self, and hence that's when the conflict falls. That's when the conflict disappears.
And there is clarity, and I'm happy for that, and I'm glad you're able to balance both, because we would love more of you in any form, Vasu, because I think you're one of the fantastic musicians India has ever produced. And it's not easy for a band to survive beyond 30, I mean, for 13 long years, to be together, to stick together. That talks a lot about, how well you guys bond together as well. I saw Swarathma's partnerships, or rather collaborations, with some great musicians like Subha Mudgal ji, for example, or I saw one of the songs, your partnership with Amit Kilam from Indian Ocean. Another band I've been a huge fan of. My question is, how do you manage, their own baggage that they bring sometimes as seniors, or somebody who's been so widely popular, or their style of music that they bring in with them? So when collaborations happen, how do you battle that out and come out with music? I was always curious about that.
Yeah. So one of the bigger collaborations that really opened us up was obviously with Subha Mudgal ji. Right. And in fact, we had collaborated with her on our song Pyasi, and then she sang her parts in Delhi. One of our bandmates traveled to Delhi, and that time we had just enough money for one person to take a flight to Delhi and come back. Right. We didn't have even 2 people to go and come back. So he just had that much. He didn't have money to even stay there. So he went in the morning, recorded, took a flight back the same night. So that's all we had. And after that, when that happened, I think the Duerist, the episodes that came, the series that came, wherein they were collaborating, they're putting together a few musicians, and we were in the very first series, and we are probably like the 3rd or the 4th band that, and they immediately found that connect between us and Subha Mudgal ji, and they said, okay, you're going to collaborate with her. and we were thrilled because we never thought that we would actually meet her. And then when we collaborated with her, my learning from her was that irrespective of whether it's a senior musician or or different genres or different styles, end of the day you need to open your heart for their music to enter into you and you in your space, and let them create that,
Right.
and vice versa. And also she very honestly told that most often than not in collaborations, you want to please each other, and you want to say that, okay, you're doing that, let it be. But inside you might be feeling something is not working, something is not happening. But it is also your responsibility to be honest when you feel something is not happening, to tell that for the bigger
the song.
goodness music or the song, that is more important than pleasing that person or to be okay with something that they're doing.
Right.
And so that was like a huge learning from her. And what we feel, I mean, not I don't want to praise ourselves or anything, but as a band, I think when we find musicians of a different genre or style or any other stature, I think we are more childlike. We are more curious to play around with them,
Right.
than being worried, okay, what is it that we are going to create or anything. So whether it is Amit Kilam or Clinton Serio or Subha Mudgal ji or Monica Dogra that we worked with, and also Lokhon Das Baul, a Baul singer we collaborated with. We recreated Ekla Cholo and he was on board.
Right.
So I think we become childlike, where मतलब अच्छा नया खिलौना मिल गया है, like we'll go play like new ground to play with. So
even with Pyasi, Vasu, because for us as laymen, just being your listeners and fans, a thought that flashes at least my head is maybe when you're collaborating with a much bigger artist, especially somebody who's known to be in the classical circuits like Subha Mudgal ji, because they come with set processes, because they're classical singers. At least that's what we think. And bands like yours who are experimenting all the time have a lot more freedom. You're not bound by paradigms or processes. I've always thought they probably walk all over you to tell you, here's what I want, here's how you should do it. But when I listen to Pyasi, it's more Swarathma than anything else, because the elements of your instruments, the essence of your sound is still intact with Pyasi. And that was incredible for me. So that's why I got curious in terms of, did you have to tell her sometimes, perhaps, no, this is what we think we should do, or it kind of flew naturally? What happened there?
Yeah, so Pyasi is an exception because as a song we had composed earlier. In fact, we had also released the album where the song was already there.
Right.
Then we were collaborating with GWC, Global Water Challenge, an NGO, where they were working on water resources and conservation of water across the globe.
Right.
And they wanted a song related to water, and they approached us. And Shekhar Kapoor, the filmmaker, was a creative consultant for them. He, in fact, said, I actually hear a female voice in this song. Can we have a female voice? So he suggested. And at that time, our band manager, Vijay Nair, was in touch with Shubhaji. And he said, can I ask her? And he asked her, and she readily agreed. And then, so we sent her the song. She sang almost like wherever she felt. And then we kept parts where we think that it was blending well, doing justice to her singing and her voice, and also to the song. End of the day, that something I always keep saying, do justice to the song. Don't try to do justice to the artist. Always, the song is bigger than the artist. So it's like God is bigger than the photograph that we make. So we always keep the song in front. And that's how it turned out. So much later, when we did Dur Kinara with Subha Mudgal ji, she actually broke all the myths that we always carry. That, like what you thought, oh, classical musician, they'll have a set pattern, they don't write. Really, she was like a 12-year-old girl, you know. It felt like she was wearing her frock and running around our room and making music with us. It didn't feel like the big Shubha Mutkalchi who wearing sari and prim and proper like classical musician. Not like that at all. She was really having fun. She didn't get into, okay, what are these technical details, or this is only the part that she can do. She in fact learned 2 lines in Kannada.
Oh wow!
In between, if you see the episode, you will see like she has learned 2 lines in Kannada. She did a research of that with one of my bandmates, and while recording, she surprised all of us. She suddenly sang 2 lines in Kannada. I mean, why would she want to do something like that if it is not part of the song?
Right.
It is, the process is more fun, more important for her also, and hence she tried something like that. I mean, we didn't keep the Kannada part, that what she sang in the song final recording, but in the take she did, and we were like really like blown away by her effort. And that is what music does to us. It keeps us refreshed, it keeps us challenged, childlike every time we create. And I think that's very important. Once you only get stuck to the rules and forms and formats, then the child is gone. And that's why I keep saying, don't grow children. Can we keep children the way they are?
Yeah, right. And I remember, just on that note on Shubhaji, she broke a lot of stereotypes with her song when indie pop kind of got seen with
exactly.
Was not a typical classical song. While it was, while retailing all the ragas and the everything of that song, she just broke so many stereotypes. And so are you, Vasu. There's so many stereotypes that you've broken already about how people look at folk, especially regional folk. And I think for a long time, India has seen a lot of folk coming up north, where there's richness of culture, but so is it here in South, right? And I've seen you do that constantly. But you also are interested in causes, is something that I get as a sense in your collaborations. You care for the environment. You care. I remember one of your songs, Topi Wale, right?
Yeah.
It takes a lot of guts to come out with a song with the actual footage. I don't know if a fan did that footage, or you actually put that footage out there on the video. What made you do that? Of course, the song is brilliant, but wasn't it a risk you're taking, you thought?
So, so I'm a filmmaker myself. I studied filmmaking from NID.
Oh, wow.
And so most of the time when I think of songs, I think of the songs. I'm a very visual musician. Like sometimes when I'm making music, I tell some people, add some blue in that part, right. And add some purple, tinge of purple in that lead section.
Right.
So that's how I look at music. So when we made this song, I was very clear. I wanted to show the reality of Indian politics that people probably have seen or not seen, or we don't give it a second thought.
Right.
And of course, like I said, the sugar-coated bitter pill is about in a fun way, but tell deeper stuff also. Like right. For example, in that song, there is a dhanda hai ye, there is a line which says dhanda hai ye janda hai khel purana.
Right.
Where we are showing the India-Pakistan division. Absolutely. Where the 2 flags are going up in India and Pakistan flag, and the map actually shows the division. Right. So this whole idea of division is a business that people have been doing from very long.
Right.
So that is the thought that we wanted to say. And I mean, how much more literal can we get was the thing. So we wanted to get as literal as possible and show, like, there is a line which says, "झुके तो पैरों को छू ले, पर अपना पिच्छू संभाल ले." You know,
I love that.
like, so even in that,
and you actually show actual footage, right? So of politicians in that song.
Yes, yes. So in that, there is a politician falling at someone's feet and doing so. That is, it's very literal translation of what the song is about, and we had to go full on and out with that. There was no hesitation. So that's the thing, you know. Music gives you that one superpower to say, हाँ वो कुछ होगा तो होने दे, देख लेते हैं types.
Right.
So we went all out with that. Yeah.
So when I came to that show of yours in Bangalore, I saw more than half of them were not Kannadigas, right?
Yeah.
And yet almost 100% of them were singing your songs with you, right?
Yeah.
How does that make you feel, Vasu? Do you think you're achieving something like a recognition to a language that perhaps is often ignored? Do you think?
Again, coming back to music first, it's a music first and the language later.
Right.
Of course, it feels nice that you know, when people sing, irrespective of the language, people are singing your song is a big ego booster as a musician. But that's the beauty of music. People forget where they are from. People forget what caste or religion they belong to, what language they actually speak. But now they're singing something new. It makes them also feel refreshed.
Right.
Then and also you might have seen, like, many a times I leave the stage, I go into the crowd, I be with them, I sing amongst them. We all become one. There is no division of, okay, I'm on a stage, you guys are the audience. So when collective energies come together, right, the power is even more, and we forget the differences, we forget the language barriers. So hence I often also keep telling my own fans or audience, when they say, why are you doing a song in Hindi, why are you doing a song in why not Kannada? Or when I do a Kannada song, they say, like, why are you doing a Kannada song, do Hindi or whichever. Tomorrow I'm already doing a song in Tamil. I'm sure many people will say, why are you doing a Tamil? As if Tamilians are like our enemies. Dude, there is a political, I know that there is a political and a geographical challenge that we live in as neighbors. But what has that got to do with music? What has that got to do with my language? Like, I am a huge fan of Abida Parveen. From tomorrow, will I stop listening to her just because she's from Pakistan? That is different. And end of the day, what she's singing is all about love, spirituality, and peace. Look at that. You know, why are we getting stuck with only one idea? There can be 100 different ideas. Okay, you can hate. If you don't want a certain thing in your life, you can hate it, fine. But don't stop yourself from taking what is good from there, no?
True.
So that's what I keep telling, that forget the language, or if language is a barrier, just forget that. I listen to Avial, I listen to Taikudam Bridge, Masala Coffee, Malayalam bands, and I don't understand even half of the things that they're saying. Yeah. You know, probably when I like the song, then I go and see what is it that they are actually saying and the meaning behind it and all. It's a music, man. Come on, don't build this language barrier between.
What was amazing to me, Vasu, is I went to Sri Lanka. I keep going there regularly for business. One of my good friends, who's a music lover, actually forwards me Agam's Mist of Capricorn and Taraka Bindige, and he says, how come you never introduce us to these two artists? I love them. Who are they? I was like, wow, Sri Lanka, of course, it's a closer country, but it's still beyond boundaries. So that Sri Lanka is appreciating this, though they don't understand the language.
I have had people from Morocco writing, saying that I love your music and can we have you here and things like that.
Right.
So it is beyond. And I listen to an artist called Alawardi, and he sings in Arabic, and I don't understand half of it. So it's beyond. And now the world is getting closer with the internet, and each one has access to all kinds of music and languages. I think when things are growing bigger and wider, we should stop thinking of these smaller things.
Right. And I know I promised myself that this episode will be only about Vasu Dixit, right? And we've almost spent an hour, and I haven't realized time, honestly. But I'm tempted, if not for myself, for my listeners, for your fans. Is there see, today you have your own brand, Vasu. You have your own style of music that you've brought in. But the comparisons are inevitable, isn't it? I mean, because Raghu having come into the foray much earlier than you. But today, I think you both have a clear differentiator in terms of what music you guys do, and you both are different brands. Is there a sibling rivalry at home? Do you guys keep giving each other feedback?
Yeah, definitely. See, that's what I keep telling, that things couldn't have gone much worse because we both have same parents.
Do they pick their favorites, or are they usually very neutral in their feedback to both of you?
Yeah, definitely. My mom loves my brother's music more, but she loves me more.
That is a smarter way to put it, Vasu. But I think God bless them. What amazing music they've given to India through their sons.
And when we meet, also we discuss. He shows me what are the new stuff that he's been doing, and he shares stuff. And I hesitate to ask until he asks me. Really, that's when I show. Or when I'm really excited, like when I have a work that I'm very proud of, that's when I go and show it to him. And Raghu is definitely a very difficult customer to please. So if you get at least nice kind of an expression from him, that means you have done a good job. So yeah, we share and we wait for each other's feedback on what we feel about each other's work.
Any brother collaboration that we can expect in the future, Vasu?
I think we both are good critics of each other's music. Right. So it is a really tough job to come together and do something. But I'm sure whenever it does, it will be a blast.
Oh my God. You have no idea. The fans would just go crazy. I am one of them that's waiting for that to happen. But Vasu, thank you for the lovely music that you give. I keep saying that, artists like Mohammad Rafi, Kishore Kumar, the new age actors, these are the constants in our life. Relationships change around us, situations, everything changes around us. But who we sit back to and switch on that music, that speaker, and listen to, is our constant in our lives through our phases, from first breakups to wherever we come to. And you're definitely one of them for a lot of us.
Thank you.
That we go back to after a long day's work, switch it on and forget the world for 3.5 minutes, like you said. And thank you for that. I think that in itself is a huge service that you're doing to your fans. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
I abuse my acquaintance with you now and request you to play any of your favorite songs before we say goodbye to this show. We'll just end it.
Sure. I will sing Taraka Bindige.
My favorite. Thank you.
ಬಿಂದಿಗೆ ನಾನೀರಿಗೆ ಹೋಗುವೆ ತಾರೆ ಬಿಂದಿಗೆಯ ತಾರಕ ಬಿಂದಿಗೆ ನಾನೀರಿಗೆ ಹೋಗುವೆ ತಾರೆ ಬಿಂದಿಗೆಯ ಬಿಂದಿಗೆ ಹೊಡೆದರೆ ಮುಂದೆ ಕಾಸು ಬಿಂದಿಗೆ ಹೊಡೆದರೆ ಒಂದೇ ಕಾಸು ತಾರೆ ಬಿಂದಿಗೆಯ ತಾರೆ ಬಿಂದಿಗೆಯ ತಾರಕ ಬಿಂದಿಗೆ ನಾನೀರಿಗೆ ಹೋಗುವೆ ತಾರೆ ಬಿಂದಿಗೆಯ ತಾರಕ ಬಿಂದಿಗೆ ನಾನೀರಿಗೆ ಹೋಗುವೆ ತಾರೆ ಬಿಂದಿಗೆಯ ಗೋವಿಂದವೆಂಬ ಗೋವಿಂದವೆಂಬ ಗೋವಿಂದವೆಂಬು ಗುಣವುಳ್ಳ ನೀರಿಗೆ ತಾರೆ ಬಿಂದಿಗೆಯ ಗೋವಿಂದವೆಂಬು ಗುಣವುಳ್ಳ ನೀರಿಗೆ ತಾರೆ ಬಿಂದಿಗೆಯ ಪುರಂದರ ವಿಠಲನಿಗೆ ಅಭಿಷೇಕ ಮಾಡುವೆ ಪುರಂದರ ವಿಠಲನಿಗೆ ಅಭಿಷೇಕ ಮಾಡುವೆ ತಾರೆ ಬಿಂದಿಗೆಯ ತಾರೆ ಬಿಂದಿಗೆಯ ತಾರಕ ಬಿಂದಿಗೆ ನಾನೀರಿಗೆ ಹೋಗುವೆ ತಾರೆ ಬಿಂದಿಗೆಯ ತಾರಕ ಬಿಂದಿಗೆ ನಾನೀರಿಗೆ ಹೋಗುವೆ ತಾರೆ ಬಿಂದಿಗೆಯ ತಾರೆ ಬಿಂದಿಗೆಯ ತಾರೆ ಬಿಂದಿಗೆ ಯಾ
Wow, the sincerity, what you bring in, I'm just lost for words, Vasu. Let me not try to screw the moment with my commentary here, but thank you. It means a lot to me that you've accepted my invite. I know you're busy. I've seen some of your posts on Insta that you're working on some new songs now as well. So good luck for that.
Thank you.
Continue to make a difference to the society. And as a fan, I'm going to say a big thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for calling me on your podcast show. It was really nice talking to you. And also, it helps me reflect back on a few things about what I'm doing, what are my thoughts. So thanks for interviews like this, and especially to you today for letting me reflect on myself.
Thank you, Vasu. Good luck.
Thank you.